Dan Brown's bestseller, The Da Vinci Code, which features a hidden truth guarded for centuries by a fictional cult called the Priory of Sion. But in his next book, The Solomon Key, Brown brings in an organization that is real: the Freemasons, a group that conspiracy theorists say has amassed great power and is willing to destroy anyone who would challenge them. They assert that the Calvi death is one example of how far they'll go to protect their members and their schemes. Another so-called example is the 2004 shooting death of William James in Long Island, New York. Reports claimed it was a Masonic rite. Before he was shot in the head, James was blindfolded, seated in a chair, and surrounded by tin cans.
James had gone through most of the initiation process, and he had come to the point where there's a mock shooting in which a member of the club was going to pull out a gun, shoot blanks, and then some cans next to the initiate were to be knocked over by someone next to the cans. What happened tragically was that the person with the gun reached in his pocket, pulled out a loaded gun rather than the actual gun with the blanks in it. He shot and killed William James.
The trigger man was Albert Ide, a fellow Freemason. The New York Masonic Lodge was quick to say that the event was not part of any Masonic ritual. But there were Freemasons involved, and this was enough to create an international sensation. Ide pled guilty to second-degree manslaughter and was given probation. He was also expelled from the lodge.
If you break the law and you're convicted, then you will either have your membership suspended or, more often than not, thrown out completely and not be able to get back in because of what we believe Freemasonry stands for.
But if that's the case, then why are Freemasons associated with violent deaths? One reason may be that their initiation rites involve a Masonic legend that goes back 3,000 years. And at the center of the tale is a murder. The story is based on a biblical account found in the Book of Kings. King Solomon built the temple to God in Jerusalem. His top architect was Hiram Abiff, seen here in the costume beard. Legend says he was an ancient Freemason. Hiram Abiff knew the secret password of the Master Mason, but as the temple neared completion, he was confronted by 3 lesser stoneworkers who wanted to learn the secret password, a word that would grant them wisdom and power.
Would you give me the secret word of a Master Mason? I cannot.
Each one threatened Hiram Abiff with death unless he gave up the secret, but Hiram refused.
Wait until the temple is completed, then die.
For that, he was killed with the tools of the Freemasons' trade. A death toll sounds, and Hiram's body is removed from the stage.
When you act out the role of Hiram Abiff, it's the most dramatic way of learning what your deepest fears are.
The 3 assassins plant an acacia tree over the grave. Then they try to board a ship to flee the realm, but they have no permission to leave. Meanwhile, Solomon learns that Hiram is missing, and he orders his men to search for the architect.
To the temple and see if he cannot be found.
Sometime later, the killers are found and are brought to the king of Tyre. All 3 admit their guilt, and the king orders their execution. Later, Hiram's death is confirmed when his pendant is discovered. And when his body is found, it is carried off to a proper burial. King Solomon then establishes a new word, one that no Freemason will ever speak in public. This word is the passkey to the 3rd degree, one of the Masons' most tightly held secrets.
That secret word is only, however, a substitute for the true pronunciation and understanding of the Tetragrammaton, or Yod-He-Vav-He, or YHVH. Only a substitute. And that word is Mahabon, and which I believe is a corruption of the Hebrew Mahaboneh, which can be translated, "What? Is this the builder?" And Hiram, of course, was a builder.
My name is Stephen Soukalos, and I'm not a Mason.
The ritual of the third degree is not about protecting a word. It's about being entrusted with a secret.
It's an attempt to make every candidate completely reassess his life. That's why it's dramatic. I mean, it's supposed to be life-changing.
But some see this ritual murder as a method of indoctrination into a sinister cult.
According to Masonic ritual, if you break your oaths, you will be murdered. That is the basic of the oath. And as you go up in degrees, the punishments become more bizarre, from having your throat slit to having your chest open perpendicular. In the higher degrees, the top of your head will be taken off, and your brain will be exposed to the heat of the noonday sun.
Naturally, the Masons regard all this as absurd.
What we have today, unfortunately, is a situation where people now, especially non-Masons, look at what Freemasons do in these dramas, in these plays, and believe them to be literally true. And of course, they are not.
But if this is the case, then why all the mystery? And why do some believe the Masons maintain their secrets with the threat of murder? The key lies in how Hiram Abiff ties the Masons to another secretive society, the Templar Knights, and to a 500-year conspiracy that some claim has shaped the course of history and created the modern world. War, depression, revolutions, religious movements. On the surface, they seem to be random events, independent forces all vying for money and influence. But is there a hidden order beneath it all? Are these events in fact orchestrated by a conspiracy of power brokers directing the business of the world through elite organizations and secret societies?
When the Bilderberg meets, you know, and they were set up by leading Masons, the Ford Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation. Most of the key people that get invited to them are Masons.
But can any one organization be so powerful, ruthless, and invisible that it charts the course of history and controls the lives of millions? And are they willing to kill to preserve their silent grip on the levers of power?
Freemasonry serves a very important role in conspiracy theories. It is undoubtedly the largest single organization which is secret, which people know about. It's international, it's found in every country. So it's a perfect vehicle to enable an international conspiracy to take effect.
The story of Hiram Abiff suggests that the Masons go far back in history, to the designers of the Temple of Jerusalem. Some push it back even further, to the very founders of civilization. But how do these claims link the Freemasons of ancient times to the corridors of power today?
Freemasonry has attracted the rich and the powerful and the influential, and certainly as it evolved out of its medieval guild roots, it evolved into an organization which did attract opinion formers, and it's undoubtedly, historically, a recruitment tool that you would be joining this group with esoteric secrets going back to Solomon.
Solomon's Temple